If you open the chart in the morning and you still struggling where the price very likely gonna go, or if there is high probability trading condition, or if you can see any particular setup on the day, maybe my pre-session checklist could be helpful for you. First one to begin with, you can actually get the PDF of my pre-session checklist if you join the Discord. Basically, first the link in the description as I'm recording this video. You will have access to the PDF and probably even way more things in the future. If I decide to find something valuable for you guys, I will include all the materials in this particular link. So now let's jump into how I basically trade and what I am looking when it comes to every single day. If you've been in this channel for quite some time, even if you don't, I basically trade based on my MVM system. Again, want to know a little bit more, I've written down a little bit detail about that system in the Discord, so you can check it out. But the most important information is basically right here. So I trade based on the AB logic, meaning the price moving from one liquidity point to another one. In other words, basically from point A to the point B. So what are the levels? It's usually two things. It's either fractal high or the low, or the imbalance inefficiency in the market. It's really that simple. These two things basically cover most of my biases. Obviously, you need to learn how to read the price in that certain way. But if I'm bullish and I'm seeing the fractal high, obviously there will be my bias, basically my taking profits level. Vice versa, when it comes to the short setup, pretty much the same thing. And if I see some sort of pullback or the retracement, reversal, I will be looking for the imbalances in the market for my level as a taking profit, or also for the level where I want to see some particular setup. That's pretty much it. And then I also have a one particular rule: if there is no clear high time frame level, I will be only focusing on the intraday levels, meaning I can play some sort of ping pong style within the high time frame level or levels or the range. But also, if I don't see anything clean, I just skip a pair or the day. Nowadays I usually trade 4 pairs: BTC, Gold, UJ and EU. So if I don't see anything clean, which usually at least one of these 4 pairs showing me some sort of setup. But again, if the market doesn't show me clear high time frame level or even clean intraday level, I will simply just skip a day. And once I have the key levels, I will simply start looking for some trading opportunities. And for me, in order to have high probability trading setup, I also pay attention to if I'm having some trouble area, meaning basically TA. If you see me mentioning on the Discord TA quite some time, this is basically what it means. Some troubles area or the manipulation against the trend. Just to explain this piece of information is, this is key high time frame level obviously. We having some manipulation which eventually end up being such a really beautiful move to the upside. So naturally I would be looking for the long setup to take out the previous fractal high. But basically, if the high time frame is showing me manipulation and we are really close to this piece of price action, that itself is basically treble area. So I will either need to adjust my risk reward ratio or rather skip this particular setup. Or basically one last thing, but I don't do that as much, I would also reassess if maybe this area would be a quite a bit nice setup for the downside, basically this kind of continuation. Because what you usually seeing in the treble area is that there's gonna be likely some reaction, and let's say we would be entering the trade with the stop loss right here, maybe this treble area would be enough to basically push price lower, not to take out the previous low, but to take out some internal liquidity and eventually moving to the upside. So basically this checklist prevents me for this piece of price action. Then the next step is literally non-negotiable, because the risk reward ratio has to be favorable. By favorable, I mean I trade nothing below 1.5R. If I see such a setup for 1.2 or 1.4, statistically I just don't want to trade this particular trade, because most of the time, based on my testing, if the winning setup is presented, it's usually 1.5R trade and sometimes even a little bit buffer. So this is really important for me. If you're gonna trade a different strategy than me, then obviously your risk to reward ratio will be different, but for me it's basically 1.5. Also, I believe a lot of traders ignoring invalidations. So obviously the clear invalidation would be if the target is already met. Let's say I'm looking for the short into this piece of price action, but if the setup is already being hit, now we're trending to the upside to the origin where I want to take a short, well, I'm not gonna take any trade because my target is already being hit. Also, most of the time the invalidation is if there is high impact news. This actually can be tricky because I trade the high impact news most of the time. For the beginner traders, I would definitely consider to having this as a rule to basically not take any trades, because most of the time you likely to gonna get slipped out or even completely wrong on the bias. But also on the other side, I would say if you're trading higher time frame, this is pretty much fine by me, but I usually have it as an invalidation if I don't see crystal clear setup prior to the high impact news. I just don't trade any. And one of the most important and probably the most powerful piece of information and invalidation at the same time is if the setup is basically outside my usual session. I'm gonna be making another video about this topic, but basically I'm looking at the statistics where my most winning traders are and what is the time frame or what is the time period where I take these trades. But statistically, I'm basically seeing that most of my losing trades has been the beginning and the end of the day, but my most winning trades are basically the first and second hour of the London session side by side with the New York Open. That information itself can help you to eliminate a few losses, which eventually will compound the account and you can grow rather quicker with less drawdown. I don't want to yap too much, you can check out for yourself, but just to cover one example. So we having the higher time frame level, which I identify, and I'm basically looking for the setup. So manipulation on higher time frame level. Did I identify high time frame level? Yes, I did. It's right here. So then what I'm looking at is I'm basically looking some bullish volume candle, which we eventually having right here. We having additional manipulation. I have multiple TP levels available, meaning we have 1, 2, and 3 fractal highs. So naturally the risk to reward ratio would be really great, more than 1.5. And the trade is basically within my session, meaning this usually gonna be some London or the New York Open. So if I see this setup with all these criteria within my time zone, I will always execute the trade without any hesitation.